Well, good morning, everybody. Today, I get to put up my first SHEDWARS21 video. And I'm doing this in conjunction with How Cheap Can I Live? Because this video, if you are starting your seeds, will really help you. Now, this is a type of seed starting that I've changed from where I found in a very old book, where they used wooden boxes and iron plates and rocks, gravel, and I've tweaked it so that we can use it in our modern everyday lives. But you still are going to get the benefits of this technique. Now, the great thing about this technique, using that sphagnum moss, is that it is such a good soil retention, because the one thing that makes seedlings fail above everything else is either too much water or too little water. And because we're using that sphagnum moss, it just levels that water out, and we're never watering from top. And so so let me show you how I do it. This is what the sphagnum moss looks like when it's dry. And I'm going to add water so I can soak up the water before I put it all together. The sphagnum moss is soaking, and I'll let that soak for about a half an hour before it's ready to put together. Our seeds are soaking in a combination of water and apple cider vinegar, which will help them sprout faster. Now we're starting out with just a couple plastic containers and some aquarium rocks. You could use any kind of gravel that you wanted to, but I thought this green was kind of fun because I'm going to plant seedlings in my containers. And so I'm just going to spread those all out, and I have both of them all set up, and then I am going to actually take my second plastic container, and I've done some drill holes in there so there's really good drainage, and I'm just going to set those in there, and my extra water supply will sit in between those two plastic containers. Now the next thing I'm going to add is the sphagnum moss, and it's been soaking for about a half hour, and so I'm just going to reach in there and I'm going to spread that around. And the idea is I want about an inch of sphagnum moss all the way across over top of where I put those drill holes, and I press it down a little bit, but not too hard because I want it to really hold. And this is the kind of sphagnum moss that I use. I like the long fibrous one, and so the extra water that it was soaking in, I am just easily just going to pour right through there, and it'll go down into the rock section. That way I'm not wasting any of the water. Now in this bowl I'm going to make my potting soil mixture, and I'm going to use 1/3 of each part. So a third of the potting soil. This is an organic potting soil by Kellogg. I like it. You can choose whatever one you want. And after I have about a third, I'm putting in the vermiculite. Now the vermiculite is really good at water retention. And so a third of that, and then I'm going to add the perlite. And the perlite, the best function that it does is it leaves water space and air space for water to travel through, the roots to go through, and those tiny roots don't want to have to push. And so it makes it really free draining, and those little tiny roots will have a really good start. And so I'm just going to mix that up well so that it has a combination. If you find anything, any pieces, sticks, anything in there, any clumps, you want to break those up. But I want it to be very free draining and well mixed. So I'm just going to pour that on. Now, depending on if you're going to leave them in for a while or if you're going to prick them out right away, that will determine how much you put in there. But because I'm going to leave these in for quite a while, I'm going to fill my container pretty full. So I'm going to use that entire bowl for each one. I'll do 2 different ones. I'm just going to put that in, and I'm going to lightly press it down so it has some contact with the sphagnum moss. And see, you can see how it'll just easily just push down. But I don't really want to pack it. I just want it so it has some contact. And then it's time to put my seeds. Now on the right side, that I'm doing right now, this is a Hungarian yellow wax pepper. And I'm going to just fill that whole tray up. And then on the right side is a rainbow Swiss chard. So I have all of the seeds in there. And I know it's a little hard to see because they're so tiny. But I also need those seeds to have some contact. And I'm just throwing that water that had the vinegar in there underneath there, because apple cider vinegar is great. And so I don't want to throw that out. And so I'm just going to put that underneath. And then it's a matter of choosing what you want to put on top. Now you could just put soil, some of your soil mixture that you made, but I'm going to put perlite. It's real easy for the little seedlings to push through. I'm just pressing a little bit because I want some good contact between the seed and the soil. And then I'm always going to water from below. And you want to keep it at a ½ inch to an inch up onto the second container. And this will really soak in, so I will have to fill it up again. Now, these containers come with lids, so it's easy to transplant them or transfer them to different areas. And I'm going to just leave these out on the table. It'll be in the 70s and 80s every single day down here. And I have my Shedwars book, so anything that I do, I have to write down. Now, this is my section for seeds. And I have 2 more seeds that I need to add to my list. These are all seeds that I bought since I've been down in Arizona. And so I have my peppers at the bottom and the Swiss chard so that I have that. Now, this information sheet will actually get transferred to the video sheet. And it just tells the date, what I'm doing on that video, the things that I used for that video, and it gives me enough room so that I can talk about it later. Because I'm using vermiculite, perlite, and potting soil, organic potting soil, we just have this fine mixture that those little baby roots can just spread out. Now, we will be back in Wyoming in about a week and a half. Not very long at all. And I'll put those lids on because they'll just barely be starting to come up. And then they can travel with me. Now, most of you aren't going to travel 20 hours with your box of little seedlings. But if you had to move them from one place to another, it makes it real easy to be in these little lightweight containers. Now, when I get home, I will transfer all the different containers into a very large container because I have this shelving system that they sit on, and I can have, I think, 5 or 6 of those small containers in there. And it's easy to take out, plant, because if you have all of one plant in per tray, the growth is the same. Where if you're doing a variety of different vegetables, some are ready, some aren't ready, some you're pricking out, some you can't prick out yet, this is a very easy system. Now, every SHEDWARS21 video has a hashtag SHEDWARS21. Every video that somebody that's in Shedwars comes up is supposed to say SHEDWARS21 and a colon. It's an easy way to put that in so you can watch all the different Shedwars so that you can learn, because the main goal is teaching, sharing, showing how I do a concept, how you can do it, how you can tweak it, you can change it because of your area. I hope you like this video. Click that thumbs up. Subscribe and do the notification bell so that you know every time I do a SHEDWARS21 video or any of my other videos. So this is my first SHEDWARS21 video. I hope you learned something. I hope you take away the money-saving ideas as part of how cheap can you live. I hope that you really realize just how much money you can save by starting your own seedlings with a myriad of varieties of seeds. I will see you next time.